This is the screencast for LIT241 Adaptation, Theory and Practice. I'm Frances Babbage. I'm Reader in Theatre and Performance Studies, and my research areas include adaptation and rewriting, amongst other things, and that is particularly at the core of this module. So LIT241 Adaptation is a module that covers seminar discussion and workshop theatre practice. The focus of the module is exploring and theorising practices of adaptation from literary form to drama, and that dramatic form includes theatre, but it also includes film. We study critical approaches in adaptation studies that have been proposed over particularly the 20th and the 21st century, arguments for medium specificity, for comparative analysis across mediums, and for a more pluralistic approach that doesn't just seek to look at the relationship between a literary source and then a dramatic adaptation, but tries to look at an adaptation in a much richer and more complex context. So, as part of the module, you analyse a series of case studies and explore those practically as well through theatre workshops. And in the second part of the module, you work to develop your own original adaptation, just a small part of it, but through creative practice, and that might be a small group performance, or you can take a script writing option. This is an indication of some of the case studies that we might include, though these do vary year to year. We might look at a story like Angela Carter's The Company of Wolves and Neil Jordan's extraordinary 1980s film version of this, or a canonical novella like The Turn of the Screw, and here's a list of various adaptations that we will look at: the film The Innocents, Benjamin Britten's opera, or a very unusual and distinctive two-person play by the American writer Jeffrey Hatcher. Schultz, The Street of Crocodiles, in a film version by the Brothers Key, or Theatre de Complicité's seminal theatre adaptation of the same work, or The Fall of the House of Usher by Edgar Allan Poe, and there up above on this slide you've got a picture of a very startled looking Myrna Loy from Roger Corman's film version of this text. So the module's assessed by a 1,500 word essay that's worth 40% of the module that you do relatively early on, and then the major part, the 60%, is on a small group performance, which usually is about 15 minutes, or you can choose to do an individual play script that represents a similar amount of performance time. And with those practical options, what you're really doing is not attempting to do an entire adaptation condensed to that time, but to do, as it were, 15 minutes of a hypothetical larger adaptation of a text that you've chosen, a source text, a story perhaps that interests you. So the module is taught through an alternating pattern of seminars and longer practical workshops. You watch a number of films in your own independent study time, and we've got arrangements for how you do that. Where possible, there'll be a theatre visit, but that does depend on what's on in particular years. And as well, for the teaching, when you're working on your projects, you have small group or one-to-one supervision of your work as it progresses. So adaptation is offered as an optional approved module across the school. The engagement with adaptation that the module focuses on, theoretically and in practice, is something that should be interesting to any students who are interested in discovering more about the boundaries between narratives of literature, drama, theatre and film. And the module is designed really to have an appeal across the School of English to students taking theatre and students taking literature, to look at how these different forms and practices interrelate. That about sums it up. If you'd like to know anything more about it, do get in touch, and these are my contact details.